It's been a few weeks since we visited Attaway General, the fictional hospital staffed by a group of apathetic teenagers from TikTok, where the newest trends include near constant HIPAA violations, treating patients with the respect of a war criminal, and thanks to these kids we've gone viral with several new types of hospital-acquired infections and flesh-eating superbugs. Here's a fun thing to remember about the bare-handed young volunteer who's dressing your wound. Their iPhone is teeming with fecal bacteria, and their fingernails are a nightclub for MRSA. Anyway, do you want them to put a straw in your juice before they leave? In episodes 4 through 6 of this unrealistic medical drama, we get caught up in Sasha and Holden's bland, unsweetened oatmeal relationship, experience the Dr. Henry dating storyline that nobody asked for, and thankfully following Benny on their journey of gender presentation, in what must be the first storyline of the season that hasn't left me dead on the operating table while a 17-year-old with Botox does the renegade in puddles of my blood. So let's analyze some stool samples and another medically baffling Attaway installment of Clip Breakdown, baby. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, web series, and other content. And we get in there with the scalpel that's dull and rusty so that we can carve into little tiny organs and be like, oh, gross, let's put it in a jar. And look at it piece by piece to decide if it was worth making or not. Mama, sweetie, we are so elbow deep in this Attaway General. We're now gonna be halfway through the second season. I'm sorry it's taken so long to follow up on these Attaway kids, but I was just feeling particularly healthy, so I had no reason to go into the emergency room. Thankfully, today I had a horrible accident, so let's get into it. But first, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more Attaway and Brat TV content. We have Chicken Girls, things like that, but most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right down here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on notifications and you'll always be the first to know when we've got a rusty scalpel. Also, I've got merch available and a Patreon where you can access exclusive episodes and other watch parties and stuff. You can check out my whole Attaway General playlist that exists now if you want to catch up, but let's just get into it. I think you'll remember as soon as we start.
Oh my god.
Get an R, prep stat.
What is it? Is it mom? It's not mom. But you shouldn't go.
Someone dropped their beer mug, so there's broken glass all over the floor, and you're wearing sandals. We need a dustpan, pronto, dusto, etc., etc. So, as we just saw, someone we all know and love is in the OR today from an accident.
Jamie!
We're losing this patient fast. This is the biggest emergency we've seen all day, so let's get 2 or 3 individual people to gently hold this oxygen mask against his face. The way they prioritize staffing in this hospital blows my mind. It's like, I'm surprised 100% of your patients don't die. Does anyone have any, like, stitches we can get him? I thought it was a very intriguing departure from the normal, very basic story structure of Attaway General, where in this episode, they go to flashbacks. I said that so weird. For in this episode, they goeth to flashbacketh. She kind of teased last season how she was going down a bad path and this job helped save her. So here's more on that.
Jamie, what? Nina, it's a boring wall. Come on.
Run! It's a white sedan with an LED sign taped to the top of it. Those cops interrupted her. She was trying to spray paint "I heart getting my hepatitis B vaccine." She was trying to be a good role model for new college students. So as you see from this flashback, Nina and Jamie go way back. Jamie being that motorcycle riding EMT who came on this season, who has crusty lips and bad acting. Is that okay to say about a child? Well, you can't tell me not to say it because it already came out of my mouth and I already uploaded the video, so, you know, welcome to hell. Because of that little incident, Nina got this maybe secret opportunity in disguise.
Since this is your first offense, and you seem like a nice kid, you can either pick up trash by the side of the road or volunteer at the hospital.
The choice is yours. Camp Green Lake or jail.
Since season 1, the Attaway law enforcement has been giving these irresponsible kids the option to work with sick people. I promise you, it's not the same thing as just hiring more nurses. How come in this town every time a troubled kid kills the family cat, an empathetic lady in a sweater is like,
Pick up trash by the side of the road Volunteer at the hospital.
By the way, I've noticed that Attaway General really has a type for the supporting like one-off characters who just have one or two lines. They're like, everyone who works at a hospital is either the old male doctor or the curvy nurse of color. Like, okay, anyone else? Anyway, flashback to present day. It does get hard to tell when we're in the present and in the past, mainly because Nina doesn't look different enough between the two. More on that later. Nina is in the hospital now, trying to calm herself while Jamie is in surgery, I suppose. They don't really say specifically he's in surgery. They just know that he's really hurt, but they don't know how.
Just breathe. Stay strong. Now Rosie and Maeve, the rest of the TVs, they can handle things without you for a day.
Especially since all you seem to do is stand in the doorframe and look at your clipboard. And the other volunteers just play video games and kiss each other like they would their grandmother. This show continues to be flagrantly unaware of what these students are in terms of like, are they just there doing clerical work like they said on episode 1? Or are they straight up doctors and nurses, which is what they seem to be treated like. They're given so much importance by people with medical degrees that you would think they're geniuses of heart surgery with their tiny baby hands. Anyway, let's go flashing back to the past again to Nina's first day of work at Attaway General. This is the origin story we never thought we wanted. And now that we have it, it's there.
You lost?
What are you doing here?
Community service, same as you.
Excuse me, but I was the only one who got caught. You ran off.
I know.
Ew, Jamie, you know how much I hate it when you try to be an actor. Stop trying to mimic every male love interest in a female-led drama. It's called Patrick Dempsey disease and it doesn't look good on you. Also, wouldn't it be much easier to tell when we're in the flashback or in the present day if Nina didn't have the exact same hair? Those faded pink streaks that she didn't even have in season 1. Rub some blue hair chalk over that, give her a fake nose ring and the smoky eye. If we're gonna do this wrong path flashback storyline, I need to see Nina at her rock bottom, baby. She better be like 3 weeks away from buying her first dime bag and grinding on the front of somebody's pants. It doesn't help me see how much Attaway General has changed her over 4 years if she's just basically the same character, but at night. Also, what about him ditching her when the cops came and her being the only one who got caught? Maybe you could have showed us that scene of betrayal, mama. This writing, orange is the new whack. Also, you'll notice that now, to try to distinguish the flashback, suddenly we see these lens flares on the edge of the screen. Those are actually done by hanging little strips of mylar, which is like that metallic foil, and you hang them like vertically in front of the lens so that they're out of focus, and then when they move with the wind, you get little glimmers of light like that. You could barely see them in the office scene, so to me it feels like they just started adding these to flashbacks in the middle of the episode, which is too late, and now it's distracting, and then it remains distracting throughout the whole thing. Why not show the difference in time period with the character styling? Like, the whole point is to show us how the hospital changed Nina, so show us a changed Nina by showing us the different way she used to be, you know? Was she a bully? Did she not care about people? Was she like smoking crack on the dock? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you think Nina's rock bottom looks like and make it grisly and disgusting. I want to see her splayed out like a catfish. I'm just kidding. Anyway, let's see more of them. Like, they were kissing in the closet too. I think that's the point, is like they were just like the current generation of TVs.
We always dreamed about getting out of Attaway. This could be it.
If you don't mind mountains of med school debt, I'm gonna be a photographer.
And I'm gonna be sending you an assortment of fun-flavored lip smackers, and I want you to keep one in your pocket at all times, okay, sweetie? Because if you kiss this girl with those coarse grit sandpaper lips, you are gonna give her road rash. I hate to always be making fun of his lips, but it's like, you can change that. Just put some Vaseline on them before you shoot. No one on set was like, hey, your lips look like the underside of a lizard. Anyway, back in present day, Rosie gives Nina like an encouraging word of religious help. She's like, God will save him. Thank you for adding that. I don't know what Rosie even does anymore. Like, they just added her as like the religious girl to, I guess, just give her a reason to be there still. They're like, no, she's not doing anything right now, but, you know, when she does show up, she talks about God, and that's different. Anyway, flashing back, see how we're just ping-ponging? They really aren't too artful about these flashbacks. It's literally just every other scene is a flashback, which I guess is a choice, but I really feel like I'm watching a tennis match. And again, it's a 4-year time jump, so they really needed to sell this a lot better. They all look so similar. They made Jamie have like more jewelry on in the past. This is the day Nina gets her internship or her scholarship for Attaway General. That apparently is the thing we're supposed to all care about for this whole season.
It's about medicine.
You outshined us all.
Me and these ghostly apparitions that are all literally shining in our face right now. Also, these teen volunteer jobs seem like they're very much not about medicine. In fact, you're not even authorized to give patients over-the-counter medication. Jamie, have you been administering drugs to the patients? Do you know anything about Mr. Salvatore's overdose? Of course, Dr. Henry comes in and says, "Congratulations, Nina, you got the scholarship." This I at least appreciated because it confirms the timeline of Nina's age. I was always like, is Nina 25? No, she's like a senior or graduating for undergraduate med school at this point as a teen volunteer. If she went to school to be a doctor, like I would have guessed she is. Anyway, back to the present day, we get a checkup on Jamie's progress.
Get some rest.
No thanks.
He's lucky to have you.
I think he's more lucky to have you, since you're the one with your hands all up in his bowels like it's a bucket of lasagna. What kind of surgery is he in where they still don't know the extent of his internal bleeding? Like, can't they just look at it and see now? Anyway, the actors of Attaway General love acting super adult when they're like, no thanks. I'm not leaving him. It's like, okay, yeah, I saw that episode of Grey's Anatomy too, sis. They really know how to try to sell, like, I'm just a tired, overworked doctor, but that's life. I'm gonna be here all night because that's the life of a doctor. Drinking coffee. Ugh. Another surgery? Well, I guess my kids are gonna have to die of hunger tonight. Like, you are 5. Anyway, flashback. I don't even remember what we're flashing back to anymore. Jesus.
I thought you'd be happy.
Happy you gave up your scholarship, your dream.
You're my dream.
Whoa. That's too much.
Oof, Jamie just learned the downside of losing your virginity. Misplaced emotional attachment. However, I feel like I relate more to Nina's experience right out of the playbook of how to lose a guy in 10 words or less. I don't get it, because she just said, this could be our chance to get out of Attaway, this hospital job. It's like, but then why did you give up the scholarship that it offered? Like, isn't that getting out of Attaway? I don't understand what she did here. But either way, she said too much for Jamie's liking, and I get it. When I look back on my dating history, there are times when I was with guys and I could actually feel the moment that I scared them off. It's like date number 2 and I'm like, so I had a dream of what our kids might look like. Is it cool that I said all that? At first, it was always disappointing when I realized I just scared someone off by saying too much, but now I think it's like a superpower. Like, good, get out of my apartment faster so I can go back to making chocolate-covered strawberries and watching the same 4 YouTube videos over and over again. So they start fighting about their future.
Go to Provincetown, like we planned.
But I don't want to go to Provincetown.
Now this is an argument no gay couple has ever had. It would be like, oh, a summer in P-Town? Oh yes, honey, I can't wait to get fisted in the sauna again, just like on our first date. Is anyone else confused? She just wanted to get out of Attaway like 4 scenes ago, 4 flip-floppy flashbacks ago. Why are you doing this to me, Nina? If this was her, I would shake her and be like, why are you doing it? I'm just kidding, I would not shake that child. Oh, exhaustingly flashback to present day, one final time for Sasha to check on her sis, Nina.
How are you?
Terrified.
I mean, I know putting in eye drops can be a little freaky at first, but it's over now. And it worked great. The surface of your eyeballs look really wet right now. Okay, well, have fun with your dead boyfriend, sweetie. Now let's go on to episode 2. I've given up on remembering the titles of these shows. Actually, I guess I haven't, because I'm about to tell you. So episode 4 was Decisions. Probably named that because of the decision she had to make between going to Provincetown or staying at Attaway for the scholarship. Now we're on to season 2, episode 5, Aftershock, which actually starts with some product placement. It's like a little separate commercial, which really worked on me.
Did you invite that guy you like from chemistry?
Well, I texted him, but he said he couldn't come.
Hey, what'd you do that for?
Dude, you're so annoying.
Okay, we gotta get going, but bring the Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
You're going to bring the whole box to the party? Listen, CTC is one of my all-time favorite cereals, but even I'm big enough to understand that it's not the same experience without some type of milk. The obvious exception is when it's used as a frozen yogurt or ice cream topping. Anyway, I detail all of this in my campaign strategy, so vote Nick for Town Milk Decider, where I'll decide what of yours needs milk. And just to be clear, that's almond breezed, unsweetened vanilla almond milk. Okay, so now that I'm going to buy Cinnamon Toast Crunch the next time I'm at the grocery store, I hate that I know that. I hate that I can tell that that worked on me. Let's get into the actual episode. Commendably, Attaway continues to play with story structure a little bit by flashing back to before the events of the previous episode. Yeah, we're writing advanced college course level scripts here.
Hey!
You should read that sometime. You might learn something.
I could just have you recount every article.
I hope you mean that, because you just described the perfect date.
Not them still trying to position Sasha as a science nerd when she has yet to be seen caring about a single one of her patients. Why is she sympathetic? Her only character traits are that she loves science magazines and also Holden, and that sucks. We've had this conversation like 15 times in season 2, where the two of them are standing outside work being like, we've got to be more careful, so let's not kiss. And then they kiss anyway. Like, we've literally seen that same exact thing happen 2 episodes ago. Why are you giving me the same opening every time? I don't care about the will they, won't they. They clearly don't actually care about getting caught because they're like, we really got to be careful. No more sneaking around. Okay. Mwah. Like, that was just sneaking around. All right, let's flash back to Benny, who wasn't in the last episode, which, I mean, waste of an episode, if you ask me. Benny recently went on a date with Mikey. That's the cheerleader friend of Mia, who's in physical therapy, who Benny, like, is apparently her physical therapist. Benny, when did you learn to be a physical therapist? Anyway, Benny is saying they recently went on a date with Mikey and, you know, they're not sure how it's gonna go. And then the conversation turns to physical fitness, and Benny says this.
I wanna be slim, not buff.
Oh, Elaine Stritch, how long have you inhabited the body of young actor Brendan Jordan, non-binary icon and person who once said hi to me on Instagram DMs? I wanna be slim, not buff, not buff. I love that. Benny's storyline is a huge bright spot of tangy mustard on an otherwise bland cheese sandwich of a show. Brendan, I'm so sorry I made you food for that, sweetheart. In my season 1 review, I recommended basically 2 things to the Attaway General writers. Incorporate real issues into the storyline and let the actors bring themselves to the characters. Now, I'm not going to claim that Attaway General saw my videos and took my advice, although they did manually review and copyright claim a few of them for a period of time. But regardless of where they got this genius advice, I'm just so happy to see Benny's exploration of gender identity, and I love Brendan Jordan's really authentic portrayal of it. And in interviews behind the scenes with Brendan, they say, like, this is my story. Benny is me. So the non-binary representation is like off the charts right here. Plus, between Benny and Mia, I just really believe their relationship. It's like they seem like actual friends.
I just like looking more feminine.
Oh, so how much more feminine are we talking?
See, now that's it. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
And I'm down for the ride, but if I see that Sasha girl doing foolish shit around here anymore, I'm ripping out this IV and running through the fire exit. Oh God, here she comes.
This spleen is so badly damaged, there's not gonna be any recovery.
The way they just talk about patients openly like this continues to blow my mind. A person on their deathbed would get more privacy at a clothing optional resort with their spleen hanging out than they would just having a single stitch removed at Attaway General. But of course, Sasha gets the info she needs about Jamie's recovery, and she basically doesn't do her job of getting this laundry done. By the way, you got a big face full of dirty bedding right there, so enjoy that.
What the?
Fry you some fresh linens.
Are those even clean?
Sure, I guess.
What are you doing here?
Oh, she was just getting those filthy used hospital sheets off the post-operative patient. Honey, I'm gonna row you out to sea. That is biohazardous waste. Hospitals are where people literally shit the bed. And she's playing around in that laundry like it's Flag Day. Also, remember literally this morning when you said, it's all gonna be professional and above board from here on out. Mwah! Kissing like they do on Jersey Shore when they didn't want to show people making out. They would cover it in front of the camera. That was so trashy. It's like, it doesn't make it better if I know that behind your hand, your tongue is like interlocked with another person's tongue. Anyway, I don't know what Holden's talking about. He sucks too. Oh, right. So they're nervous because like basically when they were given their assignments today, they're like, can you two stay in each other's assignments and not do anything else? And they're like, yeah, of course. So they're like, they know that people are onto them, which is like, obviously you are doing this all the time in front of patients.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely know about us. Just seems like they'd have bigger things to worry about.
Like whether those red eyes are because of your allergies or because you got stoned in the supply closet. They're worried about it because you both let an Alzheimer's patient go missing under your care. What are, like, Dennis the dipshit?
Don't get me wrong, I love getting dressed up, feeling all girly, but I also love, I guess, the boy parts of me too. And what about Mikey? That's a lot to unload on one person.
Who cares? Mikey is great.
but if he doesn't like it, you'll find somebody who will.
I'm here for this dialogue. It's honest, yet clear enough to help all audience members relate to what Benny is going through. Although it's particularly relevant to the LGBTQ plus community, who often are struggling with, dating and finding acceptance, even within the community when it comes to like gender expression. For example, even just as a gay man, there's often, as I've talked about it in the past, this high value on masculinity in the dating scene, where people often feel like they need to step back into the closet on the first few dates and not act as flamboyant, what the binary would say is feminine, because they're worried that that will scare people off. But, it's sad that we have that internalized homophobia within us, where we're just like actually afraid, even with other gay people, to act gay, because you don't want to be too gay for a gay person, and it's just like, yeah, but I am the gayest I know, and I'm proud of it. So why can't I be proud of it when I meet somebody and who I want to show up for in an authentic way? So, and I think not for no reason, people do get scared off by that type of thing, because then it gets into this whole thing of internalized homophobia, where a gay man wonders, like, what's going to happen to me if I walk around and my partner is presenting really feminine or is a flamboyant gay man? Am I going to experience more discrimination than I would on my own? So it brings up all of these fears that we have from our childhood of being outed, of people clocking us as gay. It sucks. It's a big unhealthy cycle. I think one book that really helped me kind of realize a lot of this was The Velvet Rage by Dr. Alan Downs. I think this book is genius. I really recommend it to not only gay men, but just even straight people or allies. It makes a lot of sense, and anyone in the LGBTQ plus community, because it's very eye-opening. Anyway, now we catch up to where Sasha and Nina ended the last episode, where she's like, I'm terrified.
They've been working really hard to stabilize him. They just don't know the extent of his injuries.
Well, what the hell have they been doing in that operating room for 8 hours? Playing Dungeons and Dragons? When I make a bad decision in my life, my body lets me know within minutes by simply falling apart. It shouldn't be this hard to figure out what's bleeding. I know that I'm being naive. I'm not a doctor. Maybe it takes a long time to figure out internal bleeding, but it seems like something you would want to figure out much more timely, like than 8 hours. Like, a lot of internal bleeding can happen in that time. Wouldn't you be like, oh, well, his foot is the size of a beach ball, so that's probably internally bleeding. In that conversation, Nina basically says to Sasha, like, don't do what I did. Don't almost give up your whole life for a relationship that might not even work out. Basically saying, like, she almost threw away the scholarship, but she didn't, so I don't understand what she's really warning against. She said, I almost threw away the scholarship for being with Jamie, and now Jamie is not even my boyfriend, and he's almost dead. I'm like, okay, what are you trying to say? So that inspires Sasha to be like, I need to treat this opportunity seriously, so.
Thought I'd tidy up the place while Elijah's in treatment. Starting to smell like a dank bachelor's pad in here.
Yeah, well, maybe ask your girlfriend to stop bringing soiled bed linens in here and actually change some fucking sheets for once. I just realized what's so infuriating about this Attaway general dialogue. It actually spells out how bad these characters are at their job, like they're openly admitting it, but without a single cc of self-awareness. It almost has me like, they should have just made this a comedy about a bunch of inept interns who are like supposed to be doing the lowest level job, but they keep getting involved in big accidents. Oh, they're more focused on their phones, but somehow they always learn the value of helping others or whatever. At least then it's funny and not just like floating out to sea, like, girl. So basically Sasha breaks up with Holden at the end of this episode, and I'm like, good for you, sweetheart. Stay that way. I don't want to see you getting back together. I don't want to see you putting your head on his shoulder anymore. It's over. It's done. Go to college. Try your best. Get that GPA up. Drink your water. Use some lip gloss. Put on chapstick. Visit the La Mer counter. Get some samples. Treat yourself. I don't know. Anyway, let's just jump right into episode 6 called Recovery Aid. I don't understand the titles anymore. Either way, in the cold open, it shows that Sasha and Holden are serious about not being together, even though it obviously has Sasha upset. And then Dr. Henry is letting everybody know where they stand in terms of winning that scholarship.
Sorry, as I was saying, you're gonna be under a lot of intense scrutiny.
What's so funny, Dr. H? Did the medical examiner send you the autopsy photos from that guy who died in the hot tub? The staff of Attaway General stays having internal meetings while gathered around the bedside of a patient. He's recovering from an accident. He doesn't want to hear all that. If I'm laid out in the hospital, I'm trying to watch my stories. Speaking of which, I need to make another appointment to have more skin tags installed. What? I like having them. Benny and Mikey are, casually dating, and so they're with Mia in the physical therapy room. And Benny has news.
Dr. Henry Henry, I literally saw him leaving my house this morning. Saw him kiss my mom and everything.
I think it's kind of sweet.
If they get married, then Dr. Henry would become your dad.
Oh, so gross.
While I love the energy of this conversation, I do not love the clearly empty coffee cup. We should know this by now. I didn't come here to see I Love Simon over here perform a completely dry spit take. He said, girl, it's empty. I would be so thrilled if the next time I see cups on season 3 of Attaway General, they're filled with liquid. Then I know they're taking my advice. That's confirmation. You can timestamp that, baby. Holden is super upset because Sasha broke up with him.
Dies.
You can't just sit there. We have work to do.
Well, I'm sorry. I just don't feel very peppy today.
Well, that's okay, because your level of pep actually has nothing to do with the diarrhea disaster in room 6. So grab a squeegee and your most slip-resistant shoes and get to work, buddy. I would be hitting these kids with crowbars. What is up? I love how they're trying to set up this thing where now Nina feels bad for forcing them to not be together because they're just so miserable without one another. It's like, you can still hang out, just not at work, girl. We know Sasha's mad because she keeps snapping, and even when her sister is like, you might win that scholarship. Imagine going to New York.
Wow, I can't believe it. A whole summer away from my annoying sister? Can't wait.
Honestly, me either. You can go to New York now and become a subway rat. These kids are on my last gay nerve today. Next, Dr. Henry awkwardly tries to talk to Benny about how Dr. Henry is dating Benny's mom. And it's just like uncomfortable. Dr. Henry's like, I really like spending time with her. It's like, ew, don't say that. Meanwhile, Holden is sort of discovering his passion, why he wanted to be a teen volunteer in the first place.
I think you should take a nap.
I'm fine. Naps are for babies.
When I get home from school, I take a 20-minute power nap. I'm good for homework and gaming for the rest of the night.
And then one more 20-minute snooze and I'm ready for another 6-hour shift at the hospital, thus completing the endless 24-hour labor-intensive hell cycle that this show has set up for me. They could have even gone the opposite way of their all-inept interns and made it like these kids are super science prodigies who got to like, they're so smart they finish high school early and now they get to be pre-med students. And then it would be like that, now it makes sense why they all know everything. And then it would be interesting how some of them are like super smart but still kind of like bad kids, you know, like the Queen's Gambit. I'm just so full of helpful ideas. They should be taking my ideas. This is free gold. God, you can tell I'm reading the positive comments under my videos these days, can't you? I'm like, what if I am the gift of the earth? So that young patient is like, hey, thanks, I'm glad you're here. And Holden is like, maybe I'm not a piece of douche after all. Benny and Mia have another, I think, really nice, authentic conversation where Mia basically encourages Benny to just be brave enough to be themselves, and that is what's gonna draw the right person to them. I think this moment could have been strengthened if it did come along with a little bit of a breakup with Mikey. Like, I kind of wanna see Mikey's reaction to Benny's gender exploration. And if it isn't a positive reaction, I wanna see Benny like thrive from that. So hopefully that comes in the next 3 episodes. But let's end with Nina talking to Jamie, who is finally out of his surgery. I guess they stitched up all of his internal holes.
Well, I'll try and visit sometime. I like this though. Being friends.
And I like the trippy way that wooden door behind you is wrinkling like fabric. It lets me know that whatever sedatives you gave me are working just fine. Anyway, what did you guys think of episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Attaway General? Next up, we'll be covering the last 3, including the finale, which I haven't seen. I'm excited. Let me know if you agree that Benny is a bright spot in this whole thing. Anyway, you guys are all the greatest. Thank you so much for joining me for another dose of Attaway General. Don't forget, I have a merch store and a Patreon available where you can access exclusive bonus content and additional clip breakdowns. Thank you so much for getting sedated with me. I will see you next time.